It might be good this time to begin at the end.
Really highlight. Just wonderful.
Almost as if on cue, there's thunder in the background here at the Korean Conflict Memorial, where 19 stainless steel soldiers, no emblems at all to tell what outfit they're with. They're 19 coming up the hill.
In the courtroom, attorneys for the 4 convicted killers are attacking the credibility of the trial judge as they seek new trials in the Christian Newsom murder case. Doug Trent, speaking for Lamarcus Davidson, said Judge Richard Baumgartner was taking up to 30 hydrocodone pills a day during Davidson's trial, and that's not all.
During the time that he was deciding pre-trial and post-trial issues, Your Honor, astoundingly, he had sex with Ms. Castleman back here in his chambers.
The 4 defendants in the Christian Newsom carjacking murder case have all been granted new trials, requested after the presiding judge, former Judge Richard Baumgartner, admitted a pain pill addiction.
A very important story about an Amber Alert. You might be able to help locate this child.
Cassidy Daly is a white female with black hair, green eyes, and was taken by her stepfather, Alan Harness, after he assaulted the child's mother with a knife. They could be in a white 2005 Ford F-350 King cab truck with Tennessee's Central Concrete on the side.
A tornado warning has been issued for Knox County until 11:15 this evening. Doppler radar indicated the severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado near Oak Ridge, moving northeast at 65 miles an hour.
Tennessee lawmakers once again proposing legislation that would require drug testing for welfare recipients. The measure has stalled in the legislature, mainly because it would cost millions of dollars to implement. But its sponsor, Representative Bill Dunn of Knoxville, says he hopes a review of the fiscal note will bring the cost down and get the proposal.
Turkey's Interior Ministry says at least 217 people died in yesterday's massive earthquake. The minister says in one town, 80 multi-story buildings collapsed, people still trapped in 40 of them. Alex Marquardt is in Turkey, traveling to the remote area hit by the quake.
Rescue teams have been working furiously, digging around the clock to try and rescue those that are still caught beneath the rubble.
We've heard about pill peddling clinics in Florida, but there's a new pain clinic right here in Knoxville. It's on the 5200 block of Middlebrook Pike between Pilot and TD's Barbecue.
Here's this building right here, this brown nondescript building. And you see the people here walking across the street.
No sign, no address posted, but plenty of business.
As I sat in the parking lot and I noticed person after person going inside this building, and then I started looking at the tags from Sullivan County, Anderson, Jefferson. I even saw Kentucky and Ohio and in Indiana.
Election day in Knoxville. Candidates for mayor getting ready to square off. Madeline Rojero talks about her plans for the evening as the votes are counted.
Well, we will be at the Foundry. The doors open at 8 o'clock after the polls close, and we will await the returns there. We've got music and good band playing and food and all, so we invite everyone to come on out with us.
She's running against Mark Padgett, who says he's spending every minute of the last 24 hours stomping for votes.
I've not slept since yesterday morning at about 5:30 in the morning. We went all through last night and every hour and a half at a different location. We called it rocking the vote round the clock.
In the state Senate, 6th District, Becky Duncan Massey is the Republican.
Now more than ever, we need legislators that have had real-world business experience, that have developed jobs and balanced budget, because the government dollars are shrinking.
On the Democratic side is Gloria Johnson.
As soon as I got out of school, I started teaching in South Knoxville at Moreland Heights, and I've been teaching for more than 20 years since then. And I love the job, and I love working with kids.
Johnson, of course, saying that education's a big part of her campaign. Hey, you can keep up with the election results tonight on News Talk 98.7. Our election coverage begins at 8 o'clock. If you can't be with us on the radio, take us with you on your Android, BlackBerry, or
Knoxville Votes 2011. Know the candidates. Understand the issues. Make your vote count. Knoxville elects a new mayor and sends a new senator to Nashville. News Talk 98.7's comprehensive election coverage.
I'm Hal Hilton Hill, and we have the whole team ready to give you complete election coverage on your election station, News Talk 98.7 WOKI. We've got our whole team out there. The evening starts with excitement. At the Foundry tonight, which is the headquarters for Madeline Rojero's celebration party, a bomb scare this evening. Officials had to evacuate the building as they investigated what turned out to be a dummy or phony bomb. We start with the latest news and information on that with my colleague Dave Folk, who will be giving you regular totals updates throughout the evening, and I'll introduce the rest of the team after we get you updated on this. Dave, what happened tonight?
Halloran, it was found on the back of a Channel 10 news truck. WBIR now reporting that it was discovered by one of their folks who went ahead and made the call. Here is our broadcast engineer, Brian Shoesmith, our News Talk 98.7 engineer, outside the foundry when it was discovered, and he got a good look.
It's like a red tube, almost looks like a cigar tube with a white cap on it. It's got wrapped with copper wire, and it's kind of wedged in the back of the bumper of the Channel 10 news truck.
Now, hoax or not, Knoxville police are looking for whoever placed that
At
there.
Paget campaign headquarters with our Catherine Howell.
We're at the iconic Sun Sphere waiting to see if Knoxville will elect the first woman mayor or the youngest mayor since 1888. 33-year-old Mark Paget. Now, he's been pulling out all the campaign stops, campaigning nonstop for the 24 hours leading up to the polls even opening today. They had human billboards all over town.
In the 6th Senate District seat for the state of Tennessee, Becky Duncan Massey, 64% to Gloria Johnson's 35%. Madeline Rojero leading 61% to Mark Paget's 39% in the race for mayor.
Mark Paget is at the podium now.
We shared my vision for Knoxville with hundreds of community groups, with business leaders, not-for-profits, neighborhood groups, and we ran a positive campaign.
To the people of Knoxville, I want to thank you for the privilege of your trust and the gift of your confidence. I will work tirelessly to serve all of you.
Knoxville's next mayor, Madeline Rojero, she garnered nearly 60% of the votes cast in the runoff election to become the first woman to win office.
There's a new ABC Washington Post poll. It finds Herman Cain showing initial resilience in the face of those allegations of sexual impropriety.
It was a game of dizzy bat that led to the demotions of 5 Knox County deputies. Sheriff spokeswoman Martha Dooley says during a traffic stop October 16th, the officers had a young man put his forehead on a bat and run around it until he got dizzy.
This officer's got a proposition for you. If you're willing to do it, and you do good, this officer's only going to give you one.
No, that was not your cat knocking a sock around the floor last night.
Well, it happened about 10:34 last night. An earthquake in East Tennessee. The U.S. Geological Survey says it was a small one, magnitude 2.0. The epicenter was just east of Morristown and 3 1/10 of a mile beneath the surface of the earth. No damage. Channing Smith.
And in Atlanta, SWAT teams in riot gear, police on motorcycles, helicopters overhead, even mounted officers cleared Occupy Wall Street protesters from Woodruff Park, right in the middle of downtown. They've arrested about 50. They've been camping in the park for 2 weeks.
Occupy Nashville protesters are suing Governor Haslam over a new curfew on Capitol grounds. The lawsuit claims the curfew was created without following required procedures, that it violates protesters' rights to free speech and assembly.
Fire at an East Knoxville apartment building sends 3 to area hospitals. Knoxville Fire Captain D.J. Corcoran says the fire started in one of the units at the Aston Apartments on East Magnolia just after 11:30 this morning.
When we got here, there was fire shooting out of the B back CD corner of the building on the second floor from one of the apartments, and it had extended into the third floor apartment above that unit.
The fire is now out. Corcoran says firefighters had to rescue 4 or 5 people using ladders due to smoke filling the stairways. 2 people were taken to UT Medical Center with smoke inhalation. A third taken to Fort Sanders due to a heart problem. Corcoran says investigators are working to determine the cause, but the landlord says the tenant of the unit where the fire started told him that a cigarette on a bed may be to blame.
Authorities are trying to enhance charges against a man they say attacked his girlfriend with a claw hammer and threw her 3-year-old son last night. Daryl DeBusk with the Knoxville police says 25-year-old Kevin Coker went home drunk. When his girlfriend told him to leave, DeBusk says he flew into a rage, hitting her.
No, not that Copa. Police and county lawyers have padlocked a nightclub on Chapman Highway. The Copacabana was shut down under the county nuisance law. Knoxville Police Department says there were numerous complaints from businesses and people who live nearby. Officers say in recent months there were numerous shootings in the parking lot. First of this month, 4 wounded in one incident.
Knox County employees are getting a raise. County commissioners agreed yesterday to give a 3% across-the-board raise to county government and sheriff's office employees. The pay increase will take effect January 1st and will cost about $3 million more a year. Mayor Tim Burchett says they won't need a tax increase to cover the cost, so he's delighted about it, especially since most county workers haven't gotten a raise since 2008.
Quiet, please, backstage.
It's a Monday night on East Depot Avenue.
Places for Act 3 finale.
A chorus of men wielding spears and swords spill onto the floor and surround Arturo, apparently deciding if they will take his head.
There should be this really aggressive moment where all of the spears come up, and you're like, soldiers to arms, let's go get them, you know? It's a moment sort of ripe with testosterone.
It's a Knoxville opera rehearsal for Bellini's I Puritani, or The Puritans.
110 months. Over 9 years in the federal pen for Leslie Janis.
She is the woman who admitted she stole a lot of money from her employer. She admitted to around $4 million, but federal prosecutors believe it was more like $6 million. Janis worked for Scan Carbon, and the U.S. attorney believes she used $30,000 of that stolen money to pay restitution to her former employer. She was on 3 years probation for stealing money from that firm.
Police approached his house and he shot himself.
When news breaks,
but didn't know at the time that his son was involved.
Tune to us.
The section of US 129, the Dragon.
This is your station for breaking news.
All the votes have been counted.
WOKI-FM, Oliver Springs, Knoxville. The news and talk of East Tennessee. The news starts now.
Good morning. Traffic's okay. Fair skies, 49 degrees, rain on the way. Dave Folk, News Talk 98.7 WOKI. A ceremony today in Baghdad marking the formal end of America's war in Iraq. During the ceremony, the U.S. Forces Iraq flag was lowered, symbolizing the end of the nearly 9-year war. Lieutenant Sean Fox talks about what's left on his bunk inside the compound that used to be Saddam Hussein's palace.
Pretty much just got my A-bag, just a bunch of clothes, and I guess the most important thing is my laptop over here. Something to keep me sane while just waiting around to go home.
People talk of freak accidents, but DJ Corcoran with the Knoxville Fire Department says this one truly qualifies. A tree fell just as a car passed under it on Colonial Drive in South Knoxville near Mayflower, and the driver was instantly killed. Corcoran says a second, either way, would have made a difference.
Or even a fraction of a second. It would have, maybe caught the hood or the trunk. But, it just, the timing was unbelievable.
Killed 30-year-old Tiffany Nicole Rayleigh. Investigators did not reveal the cause of her death, but they did confirm that 25-year-old Brittany Sherwood Eldridge was murdered. The woman, 8.5 months pregnant, found dead in her apartment off Western Avenue Tuesday. Billy Joe Spears. She had more than 24 top 40 country hits between 1969 and 1984, including this one, Blanket on the Ground. Billy Joe Spears died at her home in Texas. She was 74. As the GOP candidates convene tonight for the last big debate before the caucuses, the man atop the polls is getting pummeled by fellow Republicans.
Still the clear frontrunner, Newt Gingrich finds himself facing intense criticism. Editors at National Review, the conservative magazine of record, penned a blistering editorial saying a Gingrich nomination would blow the GOP's chances of taking back the White House. Evangelical pastor Carrie Gordon says the more voters learn about Gingrich, the less they'll like him.
There's sort of this false assumption that the Republican people know his record and they're getting past it. I don't think that's true.
Stephen Portnoy, ABC News, Sioux City, Iowa.
The discovery of several meth labs in a Scott County home results in 7 children being placed in protective custody. WBIR says officers were sent to the home after a school resource officer noticed one of the children was sick. Investigators say 3 of the kids in the home were living there with a relative because their mother was in jail for cooking meth. Well, this is likely the busiest eating season in East Tennessee, so we took a highly informal and unscientific poll of the things people don't want on that paper plate.
The much maligned fruitcake tops the list of least loved foods at Christmas time, but there's a close runner-up, green bean casserole. It seems this is more of a matter of cooking technique, with word from Facebook friends that some folks just don't know how to make it. Runners-up this year, green pea salad, fruit salad that has mayo, and this dish described by one person as a clear gelatin ring mold with asparagus, celery, and radishes. Yum. I'm Channing Smith.
Wow. I'm Dave Folk. Halloran Hilton Hill is next. News Talk 98.7 WOKI. It might be good this time to begin at the end.
Really highlight. Just wonderful.
So, what'd you think of that?
Fantastic.
It's a little bit after 7 o'clock in the morning here at McGee Tyson Airport, and some of the veterans are streaming in, upright, spry, others not so spry. Almost as if on cue, there's thunder in the background here at the Korean Conflict Memorial, where 19 stainless steel soldiers, no emblems at all to tell what outfit they're with. They're 19 coming up the hill here unto the couple of pools of water inscribed on one piece of granite. Freedom is not free.